Hey everybody, it's time for another episode of In the Dock with Jeff. I'm Jeff with Road Warrior Entrepreneurs, and today was another one of those days. Weird addressing, two different businesses, same warehouse with two different entrances for each warehouse. You check the Googles, you use the trucker's path and all that stuff, and it's not 100% all the time. Luckily, the other place, which is where I ended up, had a really nice big turnaround I was able to do, and it was within walking distance of the other gate. And so here's something for you guys. Really nice folks down at the other place. I said, hey, do you mind if I just walk up and check that gate real quick? It's kind of tight. The gate's in an actual neighborhood, so houses and cars on both sides everywhere I look. And they said, hey man, sure. So I walked up here, got my walk for the morning in. That was cool. About a half a mile, which for a truck driver, by the way, I'm proud of myself. So come up here, the gate's locked, nobody around. So I'm like, okay, well, according to Google, this place doesn't even open for another 45 minutes. So I'm just gonna go back down and hang out in my truck for about a half hour and come back up. And that's what I did, and we got in and we're here. So for those of you that don't drive, that may be seeing some of my stuff on here, you might be catching on that we do the exact same thing every day out here, us truck drivers. I used to always tell my students when I was teaching new drivers, right out of the driving schools, I say, you know, our job is really quite simple. In fact, it's one of the easiest jobs overall that I've ever had. Between growing up with my father, who liked to make me work a lot, and the Army, this is freaking just easy. What we do for a living and what we get paid to do is simply this: drive, go and pick up freight, get it to where it needs to go on time, within the regulations, which that's a whole other discussion. That does make the job a little harder, but get freight from point A to point B on time without hitting anything. That's the job. That's all we got to do. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stress involved. It's kind of a weird thing, you know. We're not office workers, but you know, I mean, check it out. You know, this is my office, right? My view changes every day, but I'm still sitting in a chair for 10 hours a day. It really is. It's kind of routine. The other thing is that, you're out there on the interstates and you're just, leaning back, listening to your tunes. Maybe you're like, get a little bit of anger going because someone cut you off. That's a few minutes of excitement. But for most of the part, especially if you're doing real over the road like I do, where you're going coast to coast and up and down in different states and all that stuff, it's kind of like, I also describe it this way: it's 3 days of boredom for about 30 minutes of abject terror when you're trying to get in and out of some of these places. You've never been there before. You're going off of either directions that are written or your trucker's path or your GPS. You've never been there before. And so your blood pressure starts rising a little bit. Your heart rate gets up there a little bit. And, I count that as exercise too. I'm not going to lie. I'll tell you, I exercise a couple minutes a day just from that. But anyway, so yeah, the job is kind of routine. The trick is, though, that not hitting stuff part seems to be something that isn't so easy for some folks. And I actually think that it is, like, I've been out here 18 years. I had one accident years ago in the ice. Long story. Well, not really a long story, but I'm not going to tell you all about that now. Anyway, I was out when I shouldn't have been. That's the bottom line. And I learned from that experience, by the way. I think that the routine gets people. I think the routine gets people complacent. Don't be complacent. Always be aware of your surroundings. Always be thinking, when you're driving down the road, what if that car in front of me just slammed on its brakes real quick for some reason? Because, I don't know, a cat or dog or whatever ran across the road. What would I do? Always be thinking about that stuff. Have an exit strategy. I'm famous, me, I'm the 60-mile-an-hour man. I drive 60 everywhere I go, unless I'm doing a fuel mileage experiment, and that's a whole other thing. I'm in that right lane. One of the reasons is when you're in that middle lane and you got cars and trucks on either side of you, where's your escape route? You know, think about stuff like that. Think about the safety of the job. I think that the reason why it's so statistically dangerous is because people get complacent. We're like, yeah, you know, I'm good at my job. I'm the best. I'm a super trucker. And then, bam, you hit something. Well, not so super now, are you? And you cause damage, and there's costs involved, and insurance companies get involved, lawyers get involved. You might even lose your job. You might lose your license depending on the accident. Just be aware of your surroundings. Be professional. And as always, keep that rubber side down. Get in the comments. Let me know what you think. And we'll see you there.